Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And now it is time to take a look at the new 4th anniversary Velzard, the Silver Dragoness. And I mean, dear lord, look at that outfit. Not much left to the imagination. But out of the two characters that came out for the part 3 of the 4th anniversary banner, she is very much what I consider the better unit. So she is space, physical, also uses a fist, dragon Haki, scourge wielder, stern of spirit, goddess of destiny, which, okay, cool, sure. And she is also a support alt for dragon Haki, but unlike Rimuru, who is an AoE alt, she is a single target alt, which, okay, cool. They're both not going to do a lot of damage, but they are giving permanent weakness strike for the dragon Haki meta, 50%, and if it's an EX alt, it's 100%. Her first skill applies the Drago effect to all physical allies, which is a 30% increase to any buff that you put on a physical ally, whether it be an element buff, a normal attack buff, physical damage, crit, synergy, pierce, etc., whatever. It's going to be increased by 30%. And then she also gives 15% weakness strike, which, I mean, isn't huge, but it's only a 30-point skill. The power that Drago gives is vastly overcoming the cost of the skill and this little paltry number here. The second skill, 120% crit damage and crit resistance down. So, essentially, 240% crit, which is really powerful, but you do need someone to activate crit rate in order to get this. And she did come out with a new Rimuru, so I mean, it makes sense. And then her Valor trait nerfs orange gauges, not important. Her first trait, when 1 and 3 dupes, gives you extra alt gauge for the first couple of turns, not super important. Her second trait, at dupes 4 and 5, gives you extra attack after sending 6 blues, also not very important. But she looks to be a lot better and a lot more versatile than the new Rimuru, so let's check it out. Okay, so starting out, we're going to use her on the Dragon Haki team. We've got Veldora, Trishula, Velzard herself, Emils, and Rimuru. We're also going to bring the Masked Hero, because Rimuru is giving the crit and super crit, which enhances the amount of damage our crits do, and also enhances the actual buff and debuff for crit and crit resistance down. Like, it just makes their effects even more powerful. So I want to see the difference between using the hero with normal crit and Velzard versus using Rimuru and Velzard to enhance those numbers. So another kind of damage comparison. But we will go through the entire run with Velzard just for this fight as well. Okay, so turn 1, we're just going to do the standard stuff right here. We're going to use Emils to give us the 6 combo, and also the future hand of blue orbs. We do want to get Velzard's ult in here because she is also a support ult. She's going to give Emils permanent weakness strike by 50%, just like Rimuru, but she's only a single target. So she's not going to be as impactful in terms of overall total damage when we get to like Jubilee or something, because doing a single target ult, even if it's 250% multiplier, is just not as good as having an AoE that's hitting everybody with all the different buffs activated. So let's go ahead and take out Trishula, and then we'll bring Velzard in. We don't need to use any of her skills really until the last turn of the fight, because the Drago is 1 turn, the weakness strike is 1 turn, and the crit and crit down is 1 turn. But let's focus on getting the support alts more than Emils. So let's get as many Velzard and Rimuru orbs as possible. I think this Velzard is going to be a super sweat unit, because with that much crit in her kit, but no crit rate, it's going to... I think it's going to force some whales to go crit fishing heavily in order to get that raw damage output, while having Drago effect, which Drago for physical allies is huge, because if you don't know, we've had a few physical teams released this year that are kind of good, like Scourge Wielder, who has a lot of multi-turn buffs that are giving extra damage to physical units. Like, say, oh, actually, let's just do this, yeah. Like, say, the Masked Hero. Or we've had Warrior's Mind, which is a buff, which is a debuff-focused team, and Velzard has crit resistance down, which is going to be enhanced by the Dread from Shuna and the control stacks from Violet. So the 120% crit down is probably more like 200% crit down at that point. So we just have to smack her on a team with crit and physical units, and not only are we going to just get that amount of crit stuff, but the Drago effect that I was originally talking about is going to enhance all the buffs that we put on those teams. So for Scourge Wielder, it's going to be the physical attack, the physical damage, the light and dark attack. These are all things that are going to be enhanced by Drago by 30%. And when you're talking 150% physical attack and then add another 30% onto it, like, that's a lot of damage right there. So let's do the combo and combo. We have the Velzard ult, so we do want to send that. We also do want to watch it, because this is her showcase. So let's use Veldora, make another Dragon Soul, so now we have 3 orbs. Let's turn the animations on. And then we could watch this ult. So 1, 2. So Velzard has a decent looking ult. She goes like super explosive wave from all the Budokai Tenkaichi games. Because she does a slash, and then she's charging, and then she just goes apeshit. Or maybe it's more like an AoE from Dragon Ball Super Broly. But yeah, that's abysmal damage. But permanent weakness strike for everyone else, which does help. And the weakness strike that she gives on her Drago skill also will stack with that permanent weakness strike. So always a plus. A little bit of extra damage here and there. If she was fully duped up and fully rocked, we would be getting 85% for a normal ult. And then for an EX, it would just be double whatever she's currently at. So here, let's do another Mills and another Rimuru, because we're gonna go down to 2 ults. Rimuru giving us the blue orb gimmick on ult orbs, so this ult is gonna act like just a normal blue orb as well as being damage. So that's gonna really help us out here. So 1, 2, boom, maximum points. We need to transform with the Mills next turn. So this is just more weakness strike for everyone, and then 5 Velzard orbs. Not enough to give her ult, but not a big deal. 34k on the guard. And now on turn 6, this is where we're down to 1 blue orb. But because we have Trishula, Emils, and Rimuru, we can still get around that. We also do need to transform here with Emils. So let's transform, let's combo, and then we can take Velzard out of here since she doesn't have any orbs to begin with, and we can bring Trishula in and use his combo buff. And yeah, take Velzard out. And then stack, combo, and now the 1 blue orb that we're going to send after we convert with Veldora is going to get us what we need. We can actually do a double stack of Veldora here and have it not affect us, because we're sending 6 blues on this turn. It just doesn't look like it. So, boom. So, 105, 110, 120, 150, 200%. A full protection gauge and then some. Maximum points because I've got the skill point on Blue Charm going. And we get another ult for Mills. And now turn 7 comes in and we have the 6 Dragon Souls to get the triple damage increase. I think for this run specifically, we're going to use the Masked Heroes buff just as a baseline for crit. And then we will come back on turn 8 with a new Nuke, and then we'll use Rimuru, and we will compare damage on that skill. Because they came out together, they want to work together, and their kits definitely work well together. I want to know how well. So we've gotten, yep, that stack. So let's do the feature hand just for funsies. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason I brought the hero instead of someone else is because Guy is giving extra ult damage, and that would throw off our calculation and everything. We could bring Fire Millum if we wanted to. Who else could we bring? I guess we could bring Tail Shion. I mean, she gives 110 crit damage, and Velzard gives us 120, so it would, we would negate that too, regardless. But let's do the last stack of Emils, not Rimuru though, so we will get him out of here. So you go away. And then we'll use Velzard's 2 buffs here. Boom, boom. And then we'll use the hero to give us the crit rate, and we'll take Trishula out. So, boom. Okay. So looking at Emils, we've got the 200% EX, the 300% ult damage, and then on himself, we've got 270% attack, 24% weakness strike from a barrier stone. Okay. 120% weakness strike, and that's from the 2 support ults that we've sent. That totals 100, plus Drago, which actually doesn't make a lot of sense right there. Why do we only have 120? Drago should be 130%. Oh, no, maybe Drago's 120. Frostbite is 1.3. Ah, alright, so for people yelling at me in the comments that Drago isn't that strong, my bad. I get confused. Drago is 20% increase. Frostbite is a 30% increase for debuffs. Whoops-a-daisies. Spreading false information. Not a surprise. Not any different than what I normally do. Alright. Anyways, crit damage 144%. That's from Velzard. And then on the enemies, we've got 120% crit resistance down. So let's see how much damage we do. I just want to send the 1 ult, and then we've got the follow-up orbs. So Emils here does 85 million damage. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's a bit low for having a bunch of characters, but we didn't use the Rimuru super crit buff. So now let's come back on turn 8, and let's use that skill instead of the hero, and see how much damage difference there is. Okay, we are back on turn 8. We've got the same amount of weakness strike stacks from the support characters. So let's do now the super crit buff, and we'll see the damage difference. Last time we did about 85 million, somewhere around there. So obviously this is going to go up because we're getting super crits, we're enhancing our crit damage, and we've got our full amount of stacks. So let's do the Drago, and then the crit damage, crit resistance down. Alright. So it's going to be the same thing. We can see on Emils, he has the 120% weakness strike. It's the same amount of stacks, 270% attack right there. Everything is the same, except we've used the super crit skill from Rimuru instead of the normal just crit buff from the hero. So, 85 million, I would expect to jump up to about 100 million damage here, if not a little higher. But let's see how much higher that is, just to get a good idea. And we do 129 million damage, so that is even more than what I was expecting. So, yeah, they're meant to be used together, because Velzard has the insane amount of crit and crit down, and Rimuru is giving the extra damage on crits, and then enhancing those 2 buffs as well. Yeah, they're going to be used together quite nicely. But now let's take Velzard and put her on one of the more prominent physical teams in a burst slot now. Okay, so the Warriors Mind team, traditionally a Pierce-focused team because of Gobwa. Well, we're going to take Gobwa off, and we're going to put Velzard and Rimuru and make this into a crit-focused team with heavy debuffs, because the control stacks from Violet and the Dread mechanic from Shuna is going to enhance the crit resistance down from Velzard, on top of the enhancement that Rimuru is going to give from his super crit rate. And this is just going to go stupid nuts, because we know Blanc does a lot of damage. We're just going to have her do more damage, because this is just way more power than what the Pierce skill is going to give us. Okay, turn 1, we've got 4 Velzard orbs. That's great. Let's take her out for Blanc, and then we can just take out Rimuru for Violet. Kigali is on Scourge, or not Scourge, but Antagonist, so we're going to get the full convert here. We're going to be able to alt swap Blanc away next turn. We only need like the one orb for her to get the EX alt, so that's good. We just need to make sure that, one, we have control stacks active on the Nuke, preferably turn 5, and that we use Blanc and Velzard skills on the Nuke turn. So we need 180 points on that, because they have debuffs attached to them, and those do not carry over. So let's do the alt swap. Let's do 1 stack of control, and then the free 40 points here. Boom, boom. Alright. Shuna. We still have a lot of points left over. I mean, what else can we do here? Nothing, really. Alright, whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cool. 150 points. Excellent. We're going to get, what, 30% weakness strike here for funsies, just from these 2 control stacks. Not a lot, but hey, anything helps. Cool. There's the control. And now we can send Blanc away after we alt swap here. Boom. And then we'll bring in Velzard. And we'll do the Drago buff now, because we can hold on to that. And then we could bring in Rimuru and use his super crit skill now. And we can just hold on to that for Blanc in the back. And we've got Shuna with the skill point charm, should be getting us back up to close to maximum skill points, if not. Okay, good. We're maxed out there. Perfect. And now we just have to make sure to use the control stack again for Violet, so it's active on turn 5, because it's about to run out here. Hopefully, oh, she doesn't kill Violet. Okay. So, control stack. Do I need to do anything else here? We're going to make back enough points to get capped out on these alts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will. All right, perfect. So we have 180 points. That's exactly how much we need. Control will be active. Dread will be active. Super crit we're already holding on to. We've got the EX alt. We're holding on to the Drago buff already. So this Hinata is going to die. And while she does have natural crit resistance by 50%, we are going to negate all of that and just make it look so silly here. So entering turn 5, 180 points. We will use the... Actually, no, we've already used Rimuru, so, you know, you can go away. We'll bring Blanc in for you. Boom. And then Velzard can come in for Kigali. Yeah. Alright, so buff and buff. Dark plus damage resistance down. Physical damage up for Blanc. Or 120% crit damage, 120% crit resistance down. Let's do a full hand of Shuna. Let's take a look at the buffs we've got. We have no normal alt damage, but Blanc is rocking 66% weakness strike from support alts, another 18% weakness strike from the Drago skill from Velzard, super crit, 120% physical damage because Drago's enhancing by 20%, and then crit damage by 144. But on the other side, where is it? Alt resistance down 68, physical attack resistance down 170, defense down, dark resistance down 238, and then crit resistance 204%. So we are completely just destroying her 50%. So it is essentially 154% crit resistance down. This is going to do hilarious damage, and I'm all here for it, and we're even going to watch it. I'm afraid to send a normal orb, even though she has super guard. I think we would just kill her. But I don't want to ruin the ult. So let's just go ahead and watch it. Okay. I don't think it's going to do the most damage in the world. Like, we could probably get more damage out of this team if we build it a bit differently. But still, it's hilarious. Like, if we put the masked hero on this team, it'd probably be better. And that lasts for 3 turns. Take that per turn instead of Kigali. 66 million damage right there. Was that what I just saw? 66 million? Let me check that. Yeah, that sure is 66.9 million damage. 669. Nice. Okay, well, That's always fun. I think that's way more damage than we would have got if we had the Goblet for Pierce and everything, even with the element debuff down. Yeah, the combo of them is going to work really well. And even if you didn't have Rimuru to give the super crit, like, we would still be able to put Warrior's Mind Guy on the team, or we would be able to use the OG Masked Hero, and we would still get crit rate, and we would still benefit from the crit and crit resistance down that's being enhanced by Drago and Dread and Control. So that's kind of hilarious right there. So Velzard, she's gonna work. She is, I think, a much, much better character than the Rimuru. They definitely want to be used together, but if I had to choose which one I would prefer to put on a team, it's gonna be Velzard. She's just bringing so much more. Physical teams have had a huge heyday this year. So many of them are good. We've had a lot of good Magic teams too, but they've mainly been collab teams, quite honestly, or Spirit Master. So we've had, what? Warrior's Mind, Schemer, put crit damage on Schemer team, that's gonna go crazy. We've got Scourge Wielder team, and now we've got this Dragon Haki team with the Dragon Orbs and all that shit. So, Velzard, a good character, still slightly limited because her physical buff is only physical, or her Drago buff is only physical, so it's half the game, and then she needs someone with crit rate. But man, if you have someone with crit rate, anyone, this is gonna go dumb. Even fucking old-ass Fire Millum, this will go dumb damage for you, especially if you're a beginner. So, I like Velzard, maybe more so than other people, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below if I'm gassing her up too much, or if you believe that my opinions are true in her usefulness. Let me know, but that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.